just talking about the idea of creativity. I mean, you're one of the most creative humans I know. Everything you do is drawing, but is drawing on this idea of connecting the dots and crossing different mediums. So when I say the word create or creative or creativity, what does that bring up for you? What do you think that means?
Creativity. Wow. I think it's part of it. I think is filtering nature. We have these. We see all these things. We hear these things. Touch, taste, smell. All these our senses. And I think that creativity is taking those and putting through your own filter and just making something new. Or sometimes it's just reflecting. So maybe it's filtering or reflecting. So basically using your skills to take the things you see and hear and making something of your own.
That's awesome. Well, a lot of folks out there have sort of heralded you as the next Al Hirschfeld, sort of following in the footsteps of another great Broadway caricaturist. How were you influenced by his work? Were you inspired by him? Did you look up to him as a kid? How did you sort of think, this is the area of art that makes me excited?
In the theater, where I did my first 3 or 4 shows in La Mirada, California, there was a flat hanging, a scene flat that was hanging up in the fly loft, and it was from an event in the early 80s that took place at that theater, where the cast members who would from Broadway shows would sing the songs that they originated on Broadway. And so it was like Glynis Johns, and she sang "Send in the Clowns," and Ethel Merman was a part of that night, and she sang "Everything's Coming Up Roses," and Mary Martin sang "Do Re Mi." But during the moment when Pam Myers, Susan Browning, and Donna McKechnie came out on stage to sing "You Could Drive a Person Crazy" from Company, they flew in this flat of Stephen Sondheim. And so that flat was the one that still hung in the fly loft at the theater. So anytime I'd work there, I'd look up at that and I'm like, cool, because it was kind of like just check in with Steve and with Al, before I do the show. And so yeah, that's kind of like the beginnings of when I was starting to do what I was doing. I was definitely getting inspiration from what I had just started falling in love with, which American Broadway musicals and Al Hirschfeld's work.
When you're capturing each show, because I know you commemorate the opening nights, what do you look for in order to make sure that the essence of the show and the essence of those actors are preserved?
Well, there's a lot. I go into each show, just with my eyes and ears open. I would ideally want to reflect not only just what I see in front of me, the actors and that sort of thing, but I also want to reflect the storytelling. I want to reflect the design of the show. There's so many moving parts to the collaboration that is theater. So sometimes it means that I pick, I find some specific gesture or a moment to try to use as a symbol for the whole evening. Sometimes it's a series of moments, like a collage type thing.
Thank you so much for all you do for the theatrical community. Thank you for all you do for the Broadway community. Thank you for all you've brought to our Central Kentucky audiences here at the Lex.
My pleasure.
And thank you for being with us on Creative Conversations.
Thanks. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.